we grew from a consulting firm to a charity that was $1 million a year, in terms of our revenue per year, charitable organization. And, with funding cuts and changes and me being naive and making some poor decisions because I hadn't done it before, it ended up going under, as most entrepreneurs have in their first business. Many go bust. And that was definitely what happened to me. Mine, unfortunately, happened 8 weeks after I was married. I lost the business. I went bankrupt. It was like this big, and I tend to do things in big, dramatic ways. And losing that business was no different. And you can imagine what my mother-in-law thought of me, right? Like 8 weeks after we're married, it's just like, boom, and gone. My new husband went from having this successful executive for a wife to a woman that didn't get out of bed for 4 months. And then, and we went from being financially comfortable to being on one income, and I was bankrupt and had to rebuild everything. And, it took a real leap of faith for him to be comfortable with me wanting to start another business. And luckily that business was successful. Once you're married, you need to have someone who's willing to back you when you're risking the big dollars. And I'm not talking $20,000, $30,000. It gets to be much bigger than that. And to have someone trust you when you've lost once is, I've been very fortunate with a really great husband who did trust me with that. But it's stressful on a marriage. There's no two ways about it. It's stressful because of the amount of hours you have to put in. It's stressful financially, and it's stressful just, in terms of juggling your family life. You almost need to have your partner involved, you almost need to have regular board meetings with you and your partner just around how the business is going and financially where it's at. And that conversation, you really need to build those skills so that person is really involved with where you're at risk-wise and where you're at in terms of where you're going and whether that investment's going to turn out.
So has it all been worth it for you?
Yeah, I think so. I've been able to achieve, my original goal with being an entrepreneurial mom was to be able to stay home with my kids and to be the primary caregiver for my kids. And despite the fact that the bags under my eyes are the size of Texas and I haven't exercised since 1978 and I haven't slept since 1962, I feel like it's all been worth it. I am really a generally happy person. I feel very fulfilled by my career. And I also feel really fulfilled by the kind of mother that I'm being. Although there are days where I kind of flip out and lose it and scream like a banshee. A good thing those aren't on the camera right now. But, for the most part, I feel like I really been able to be there while my kids were little. And my plan going forward is to build my business around that. So the book's called The Entrepreneurial Mom's Guide to Running Your Own Business, and it's distributed across North America and all the major book chains. So I'm proud to get it out there, and it was one of those things where it was quite grueling to write about the hard times, especially the bankruptcy and losing that business that I was so proud of. But I think a lot of people can relate, and a lot of entrepreneurs have had that situation where you're in so deep, you're not sure whether you keep digging that hole or you get out. And sometimes it's a matter of seeing what the worst case scenario is, and being in the worst case scenario to know, it's a bit freeing to have been there and know it's not that bad. So now I'm not as afraid of that kind of failure. I'm more willing to take, calculated risk now that I'm a bit more understanding of what those risks are and what they come with.